Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Filoniverse. Oh, that's right. The expanded universe in chronological order, as best I know how. I'm just gonna steal Matt's line. No, but now done by Disney or Lucasfilm, which I really slice it. Legends. Okay. There's mostly just Filoni stuff that I'm talking about. No, that's it. It's just Filoni stuff here. Everything I'm talking about is Filoni stuff. So basically, the Filoniverse episode. It's basically its own separate universe. It only absolutely fits in Disney canon because Disney canon has not and will not explore much of the prequel era. They just haven't. They'll explore after episode 6, during the OT. They just ignore the prequel trilogy. And they have the Clone Wars, so they don't need to. Season 2, episodes 12, 13, and 14. The first Mandalore arc. These are directed, paced, and acted so well. These episodes not only feel like the art has finally started to look better, but everything about it works in terms of a story. The issue is the fact that if you're watching this in canon, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But if you're watching this within the context of the Legends universe, the amount of problems it brings up is just enormous. Now, I'm fully confident that had the EU not been discontinued, had it still been worked on, that all the issues with this could have been fixed with time, with stories, with stuff to rectify this arc, the future arcs that we'll have with this. However, since Disney bought the rights, there is no fix. We are stuck. We are stuck in this warped world where it doesn't fit. Now, there was a source book or a RPG thing, whatever, that said that basically any episode of the Clone Wars that contradicts, Legends canon is Imperial propaganda. And I'll have to use that excuse for some things, because some things there's just no explanation. However, with the Mandalore stuff, I do feel there are explanations, but that's basically me headcanoning a fix to keep me sane. Now, I do have explanations, ways of fixing it. I'm basically doing the job that Lucasfilm would have done had the EU still been going. And, gosh, I mean, I said this in my last review with the Clone Wars secret missions, but the entire episode, I mean, it's not explicit, but in every shape and form of how everyone talks, it is heavily implied that the entire planet of Mandalore is peaceful, which is absolute BS. Now, some people have said maybe it's a different planet that a bunch of Mandalorians that wanted to try to be peaceful ran off to, but they also called it Mandalore. But then why is it so popular? What I have said, and I think it works the best, though there's still problems, obviously, because Filoni just doesn't care. He didn't care about the EU. And now people are going to go, George didn't care about the EU either. Yes, he did. Your ignorance is showing. Filoni's the only one that didn't care. It's blatantly obvious with these episodes. However, to believe that an entire planet would have the same belief system, I find hard to believe. I mean, look at the world today. Now, obviously, the Republic thinks that Satine and everything has a big influence within the Senate and everything, and so what I think, perhaps, is that there was a big enough group of Mandalorians. Also, another thing, they all look like Aryans for some reason, even though it's supposed to be like an adopted thing. Like you, whatever. Think of the Mandalore in TCW as America. Okay, America's pretty big, 50 states, covers a large portion of land. But it is not the entire planet. It's just a significant portion of the planet. But it's not the entire planet. There's a whole bunch of other countries, or not countries, yeah, a whole bunch of other countries and places in the world apart from America. Okay? The rest of the planet of Mandalore is what we see in Karen Travis's novels, what we've seen in the comics in the past, what we'll see in the future, post Return of the Jedi, during the OT era. All of the rest of Mandalore is how it's described by Karen Travis. But in this America-esque part of Mandalore, they have tried to become peaceful, and their leader, their president, is Duchess Satine. Okay? That's how I'm going about fixing this error. I think it works in a lot of ways. There's probably some holes in that. But that is the best way I can go about thinking about this Mandalore in the TV show without absolutely losing my mind. So that's what I'm going to do. That being said, with the episode proper, do I really enjoy the Death Watch? I do. You know, it's really fun watching them. It's fun to just see more Mandalorians on the screen. The best way to go about it is, I would think, like, you know, the Death Watch is like, the rest of our planet acts this way. You're the only one who chooses to act peacefully. What a disgrace to the past 5,000 years of history. And so they're trying to kill Satine, trying to make the entire planet be unified again with the same sort of belief system. And I think that works fine. The relationship with Satine and Obi-Wan is okay. It is not as good as I remember, or maybe it's just because I read about Siri. And, you know, I watched TCW first. So I do have this nostalgia. But it is not blinding me to the fact that there are better stories out there. To be fair, the whole thing with Siri is that Obi-Wan was friends with her for the majority of his life. They had one mission together where romantic stuff flared and they gave in to temptation. It was one single mission, and before they got back home, they vowed to just forget about it. As compared to the 1 year that we actually is verifiable, because there's a whole year missing within the timeline with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Like, it just skips a year, and we go on to the next stories. So, theoretically, you could put this Mandalore stuff that they hint at within there, where he goes to Mandalore. It sounds like there's a civil war going on, which could explain think of the American Revolution, where we have, originally it was like we had the British territory, and then we had the colonists that became America, or, they didn't become America, but they established America. So with that, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon could have been there on a peace relief mission during that civil war that eventually led to having United States-ish Mandalore with a lot of influence and power within the Senate, but there's still only, a portion of the planet, while the rest of the planet remains as it always has been, which can explain a lot. But their relationship is decent. And they were in love technically longer than Siri and Obi-Wan, because while, Obi-Wan and Siri might have always liked each other, they never really let that flourish because they, stuck to their Jedi path. As opposed to Satine, where he fully gave in, which would have actually been, I think, before he had the romantic fling with Siri. Because I think the whole thing with Siri happened after the fact. So, best friends growing up, or frenemies became friends, goes off a year with this girl, doesn't work out, then eventually romantic stuff flares up with Siri. And I think that's fine. Satine is a cool character. I think she's a good, strong female character, without the need to, bash down men and everything. I enjoyed her arc. I enjoyed everything with the Death Watch. I thought these 3 episodes were really well done. I like the relationship between him and Satine, Obi-Wan, I mean. I also enjoyed by the end, Satine's like a pacifist. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. Obi-Wan doesn't want to, make her think less of him. And it's like, there's this bad guy on this one episode. And he's like, "What are you gonna do? You can't kill me. You're gonna upset your girlfriend here if you stab me, and she can't do it because she's a pacifist." But Anakin, of course, comes up behind and puts a lightsaber through his chest. And expertly, of course, this is a really good moment that I can give to Filoni. The Darth Vader theme plays for just like a couple seconds. You hear the Darth Vader theme. He's like, "What?" He was gonna blow up the ship, which is fair. But Anakin doesn't hesitate at that sort of thing. Like Obi-Wan does that stuff too, but he thinks about it. Anakin's like, they're gonna hurt my friends. You're dead. Bye. And that's fun and heroic and TCW, but that leads to so much bad things. And I thought that was genuinely good. Anyway, moving on, we have TCW, the Colossus of Destiny comic. It's fine. I don't have anything really to say about it, except ignore the dates. It's going to say it's a year after the Battle of Geonosis. Ignore it. It's wrong. In my timeline, anyway. It's wrong. You're following my timeline. No, we're 3 years into the war. We have Clone Wars, the Wind Raiders of Tarler. I don't know how to say the word. The Wind Raiders of, you'll find it. It's a one-shot by John Ostrander, which I found really funny because John Ostrander puts EU connections in here, whereas Filoni would go and piss all over John Ostrander's work. Speaking specifically with Hunt for Zero, with making Surfer Dude Quinlan Voss. Whatever. The only thing I had to mention there was Fela. It's not Borsk Fela, but it is a relative to Fela because his last name's Fela, and I thought that was a really nice little tie-in because they go to the Bothan world, I think. Lastly, we have Clone Wars Deadly Hands of Seongjun. This follows Ayla Secura. And it actually mentions the events of the early Republic comics with Quinlan Voss in her, which was cool. We find this think Bruce Lee, sort of like Jedi, who left the Jedi Order because he was a bit violent, but he wasn't turning dark side. And so he left the Jedi Order, continued studying the Force though, and learned how to punch things and break it. He's using the Force to basically give him super strength, which I thought was kind of cool. He punches everything and kicks stuff. He doesn't use any lightsaber stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. Of course, he gives into the darkness when chasing down this bad guy, and Ayla has to stop him. Then we move on to TCW Season 3, because I'm skipping... There's a lot of episodes that are nothing happens. Or there's that stupid episode that Matt Wilkins has talked about, where freaking Cad Bane is trying to use C-3PO and R2-D2 as they're trying to get Padme a cake, because there's nothing to talk about. It's stupid, so we're not going to discuss it. But TCW Season 3, Episode 5 to 7, Episodes 5 to 6, are another Mandalore plot. We're brought back to Mandalore. Padme comes to help out Duchess Satine. I enjoyed those episodes. They were decent. Nothing inherently further the plot, other than her prime minister or whatever the fudge he is, her second in command is a traitor, is a bad guy. That will be further explored later. Episode 7, you have to ignore the flashback. Basically, another thing I have to mention right now. You must ignore any, if in my timeline at least, to make sense of TCW within the Legends continuity. All episodes focusing on Boba Fett need to be entirely ignored. If you're in the canon universe and you're going to only read canon stuff, or you're going to follow the canon timeline, then it doesn't matter. You go ahead and watch it. But if you're going to stay within the Legends continuity and you also want to include TCW without, extreme contradictions or just weird anomalies, then you need to ignore any episode that focuses on Boba. You just have to. You know what you should read instead if you're going to follow the Legends timeline? The Young Boba Fett, the Young Adult series. That's the one you should be checking out. Anyway, it has a recap of stuff that's not canon in my head. And then Aurra Sing goes and tries to kill Padme on Alderaan. It's cool to see Alderaan. It's kind of stupid, though, because for some reason, she never uses the Force in this, even though we know that she can, but whatever. It's okay. It's fine. Then we have a bunch of like UK webcomics that don't have access to, so I'm not going to talk about it. But there's a bunch of them focusing around the Clone Wars TV show, including Invitation Only, which is literally takes place like right before the TCW episode Hostage Crisis, which is fine. Cad Bane's just trying to get Zero the Hutt out of jail, I guess. It's fine. The Colossus of Destiny. I'm so sorry. I forgot that one was about Mace Windu. That one was actually pretty decent. I apologize. I just remembered everything about that comic I'd forgot before. But yeah, that one's a very decent one. It's a decent comic. I enjoy that one. And yeah. That's basically it. Filoni Clone Wars. Woohoo! Up next, I have Clone Wars novels Stealth and Siege by Karen Miller. May God have mercy on my soul. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.